In France, it's just one day in the week, so you can do something else during the week. You can enjoy the time more. It's more artistic too. In La Villette, we have art class, painting, and a choreography of the, I don't know how you would say.
Choreography.
Except expression, body expression, or and I think it's not so different. It depends on the teacher you take too.
Yeah, and there is a very important sociological part, like in this school, and like in your age, it's the structure and the architectural details and stuff like that are very important. So it was good for us to see that, but here in France it's more about how people live inside and how people live together. So I think it's important to see.
And why would you say study abroad is important?
It's just amazing. You discover culture, people, a way of life. Burritos.
Kebab. No, it's more about an experience, and I think it's very important.
And food.
Like when you're gonna try to find a job later, I'm pretty sure the guy will gladly hire someone who is not fear to go 1 year studying abroad, and it's just kind of open-minded stuff. Or I don't know. Like I think it's very important, like to do this experience. And, it's also about learning another language, which is always useful. But
and it's hard to study abroad. It's something. I guess it was the same for you, and it's gonna be the same for everybody. But you have to leave everything behind and go in a country you don't know anybody. You don't know the language. You have to deal with the paper stuff and with the visa and. But finally, after 1 month, you're all settled and you feel, wow, I'm starting living a new life.
And dealing with the French administration is a pain in the ass. You better be ready to come here.
Like American visa, immigration services, it's about the same. But
because your base is kind of a cocoon for the student. Like, the administration is pretty protective. Here, you're just by yourself, so you have to do everything by yourself, which is kind of good. It's annoying, but it's kind of good. So.
In La Villette, there is exchange students from everywhere in the world. It's crazy, and they have big partnership with every school you can imagine.
And so with that, you think you learn more from other students from other countries?
You probably learn differently. Maybe not more, I don't know, but...
You share more with students and...
Because students from abroad are more willing to share some. So it's very easy when there is one guy from Italy, one guy from Sweden, one guy from America. And like it's always like a big emulation of ideas. And I think it works pretty well. But it's pretty much during the 4th year that it happened like that. It's during the 4th year that there is a lot of foreign students in the class.
And teachers are understanding that there is people who don't speak really good French, and finally everything goes well for everybody, even if you don't speak good, or if you... And students are willing to help, and I think it's a good place to study
abroad.
To study abroad, and we talked earlier. You learn to free yourself. You feel like you don't have really anything to lose because you are in a different country. Teacher, they know you're from somewhere else, so you can just take risks on the. À très bientôt à Paris.
What I got from my experience in France was that it's good to be around different mindset, and how people think and how people actually interpret architecture. I think it's really interesting to be around so many people from all over the world, especially considering that a lot of that is an extremely international school in Paris, an extremely international city. Other than that, I really enjoyed just being in Europe and being in a different place and having to adjust to a different mode of living. And comparing Houston and Paris is really interesting because they have such different styles of urbanism. when you look at Paris, it's devoted mostly to metro and public transport, which is really important. And Houston is sort of the typical classical American city, which is devoted entirely to the car, or mostly to the car. And so I think it's really good for that reason to experience a city that has a different motivation for its people. And so for that I got a really great experience in understanding a different urban setting, and especially when studying urbanism, it was good to have these two contrasting cities. Other things I really got out of it was just the ability to travel, like just to be able to get on a train and be in another country in an hour, or be in the south of France in a couple of hours, and it's just, I don't know, it's an unforgettable experience and something that everyone should do if they have the opportunity. Of course, not everyone has the opportunity, so I'm really fortunate that I was able to do this, but I would highly recommend it to anyone. It's cool.
Coming into this experience, I had two goals: to learn a new way of architecture and to perhaps perfect my French. And this program really let me do both of them. I studied already here for a year, and it's been really great. I kind of learned the urbanism way, or the European urbanism way, and it's just really different of thinking, and I guess it just opens up our minds as architects, because that's just important to learn different ways of thinking. And then, as much as the French, I mean, all my classes are in French, so you're bound to perfect your French by the end. And there's a few differences which I really liked about this school versus our school back at home. Is this school is really artsy, and each student has to take one art class, and it can range from sculpture, painting, to photography. And what is really good about that is it really just it kind of like takes you out of the architecture element for just a second and opens up your mind and pushes your creativity, really. And what's really good about these classes is what they do is they take that creativity and they push you back into architecture. So you kind of use that art side in your architecture, which is great, and it's just so fun. It's really fun. And with the urbanism, you have a lot of international students, a lot of international teachers, and so you're never really surrounded in that, I want to say, American urbanism. You really learn how to do like European urbanism, which is really cool. And you also take class trips. My first semester I went to Germany because my site was there, and then second semester I went to Vienna. And so back at home, usually our sites are in Houston or maybe a different city, and even if it's in a different city, we don't get a visitor sometimes. But here, Europe is so small that it's very easy to just take a train and just go to your site, and it's wonderful just to see different parts of the world. And I think one thing that I love best about the school is it's very hands-off. You see the teacher once a week, and you talk. It's pretty much like a pin-up, and they just critique and they let you go. And with that, it kind of teaches you that you shouldn't be so dependent on your teacher to give you all the answers. Be more independent, rely on your partner, and just really, with that, it helps you. Once you find the answer, it pretty much pushes you to find your own answer.
Like I said before, I would recommend coming to Paris to anyone. It's a learning experience. Getting your fourth year credit here is, if you can, I would totally suggest that you do that.
Run it. Go.